We go to the phones, and joining us this morning, the senior senator from the great state of Texas, Senator John Cornyn. Good morning, sir. Welcome back.
Good morning, Chad. Good to be with you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Always enjoy having you on the program. I guess we'll start off with the good economic numbers that came out today that were officially announced. It looks as though the U.S. economy is doing pretty well.
Well, it's very good news and not entirely unexpected. We knew that when we started rolling back Obama-era regulations and we cut taxes under the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, that it would have a stimulative effect on the economy, and 4.1% is terrific. And if we can figure out some of the trade issues that are currently in play, I think we can expect it to continue.
And I want to get to that here in just a second, but on the issue of the economy, and if the economy is still going well as we get closer and closer to the midterm elections, how do Republicans and you know how does the president, how do all the Republicans use that to your advantage for the midterm elections?
Well, I think we need to keep reminding people what the cause of it is, because many people just are busy with their lives and maybe not paying close attention anymore. Maybe they saw that first paycheck increase when the tax withholding tables were modified to reflect the tax cuts. But I think this is going to be reflected in the way people feel about the current administration and the Republican Congress, and I think will help in the election. But we're going to have to continue to talk about it and remind people, because otherwise our noble adversaries will try to diminish it and claim it's as results of other causes.
Right. Visiting with Senator John Cornyn this morning here on the Chad Hasty Show. You brought up trade. Let's talk about the trade war, the tariffs that are going on right now. I'm sure you were at least somewhat pleased from to hear from the EU and the president this week that it looks like we're going to kind of tamper down this trade war between the U.S. and Europe and work towards zero trade barriers and zero tariffs. What else needs to be done in your opinion?
Well, that was very good news, because talking to a number of my constituents, including some up in Europe, part of the world in farm country, they were a little nervous about what this might mean in terms of export markets for their produce. And so the two things I think need to be done is we need to finish the Farm Bill, which will give some certainty to our farmers and the agricultural sector, and then we need to get some of these trade deals off the table. NAFTA would be very good, and in visiting with the administration, it sounds like they're winding down those NAFTA negotiations. We could have a proposed deal here in the next few weeks. So both of those things would be very encouraging. I know the president says this will all end well, but that doesn't eliminate some of the anxiety when people are really not quite sure how it's going to end, but so far so good.
Yeah, and so where for you, when you're looking at this, what the president is doing with imposing these tariffs, and I think what he wants to get to is zero tariffs, zero trade barriers, and have true fair trade. And we're going to have a little short-term pain for long-term gain. When do we know that we're winning that trade war? Where is that line in your opinion?
Well, that's the $64,000 question. Going into a midterm election here in about 100 days, the timing of this short-term pain causes me some concern. But again, if we can get the Farm Bill done, if we can get NAFTA behind us here in the next month, I think things will settle down. People will continue to enjoy the growing economy. Household formation is at a multi-year high, public confidence, and people's optimism about the future. So I think the president's instincts are sound, but some of the getting to the result causes a little bit of anxiety.
I had your colleague, Senator Cruz, on the show earlier this week, and I asked him if he thought it was a good idea or a bad idea to direct this $12 billion towards the ag industry, towards farmers. He called it a mistake. Do you agree with that? Is it a mistake to redirect that $12 billion towards farmers?
Yeah, I agree with Ted. I think we can help our farmers better by doing what I said, which is to get a farm bill, which gives them some predictability, and then also to settle some of these trade deals. I understand the impulse to try to distribute some money. Unfortunately, a lot of it's borrowed money, and in the long term, this is not going to solve the problem. What will solve the problem is by getting a farm bill done and getting some of these trade disputes behind us.
I do have a question for you on the farm bill. Obviously, the Senate version of the farm bill and the House version were pretty different, and one of the sticking points seems to be work requirements on the farm bill. What would you like to see? Work requirements in the farm bill, or no work requirements? What's the good place to be at on this farm bill?
Well, Chad, you've presented the kind of choice that we have to make on an almost daily basis in Congress, because some have said if we insist on the work requirement, then we can't get a farm bill, which I think would be unfortunate. But I believe it's not unreasonable if people are receiving welfare benefits to say you either have to work, or you have to train to work, or you have to do community service. And I think what Mike Conaway and the House Republicans have come up with is the right policy. Whether Democrats will cooperate with us to allow us to have a meaningful work requirement in there remains to be seen. We do need to get a farm bill, but I certainly support the House work requirements.
Visiting with U.S. Senator John Cornyn, let's kind of switch gears and move to a different topic that everyone in the media seems to have forgotten about over the last couple of weeks. The president does have a Supreme Court nominee, and I know that you and others have been meeting with his Supreme Court nominee.
Yes, we have, and it's been roughly 3 weeks now since Brett Kavanaugh was nominated. We've been working on the nomination, and of course, Judge Kavanaugh has been meeting with as many senators as are willing to open their doors to him. Chuck Schumer, the Democratic leader, has encouraged his Democratic colleagues not to see the judge, not to even talk to him, until we can get the paper production, the document production resolved. But we're working hard on this. This is going to be probably one of the biggest document productions about Brett Kavanaugh's record you've ever seen for a Supreme Court justice by several orders of magnitude. But in the end, I'm convinced that 20 Democrats have already come out against the nomination. Obviously, they don't need to see anything. They've already made up their mind. But this is going to be a full and fair hearing, and we're going to ask the judge all the appropriate hard questions, and I think he'll be confirmed. When do you think we'll see a confirmation hearing? My goal is the Supreme Court reconvenes for oral arguments the first Monday in October. So my goal is mid to late September, certainly before October.
Very, very nice. And do you think every Republican will be on board with this selection? I know there, one of your other colleagues, Senator Paul, has been a little wishy-washy, at least publicly, on the pick. What do you think? Do you think we're going to get 100% Republican support? Well, we got all Republicans supported Judge Gorsuch and 3 Democrats, and I expect we'll get something roughly like that for Judge Kavanaugh. I understand how senators don't want to take their, they want to do their job, and they don't want to commit before the hearings or before they've had a chance to meet the judge and to review his record. I've done that, so I'm confident in my vote, yes, for Judge Kavanaugh. If others need to take a little bit of time in order to get there, I think that's just doing your job. Senator, before I let you go, what are one or two other issues that are going to be popping up that maybe aren't getting any media attention because the media is paying attention to other things right now? What are one or two other things that you and the others in the Senate will be working on fairly soon? Well, we're going to pass a defense authorization bill. Mac Thornberry, chairman of the House Armed Services Committee, and Jim Inhofe have shepherded this big bill through. It includes a number of measures designed to try to keep China from continuing to exploit vulnerabilities in our law, particularly as it regards technology. We know that they're probably the number one offender when it comes to stealing intellectual property through cyber theft, but they've also learned how to exploit our foreign investment laws, and we're plugging those gaps. But I would say, we're working on just some of the
I think what people would find mundane work of the Senate passing appropriations bills, trying to avoid an omnibus appropriation or a continuing resolution, which is going to be important because that will shut down these so-called government shutdown narratives. So we're grinding it out. We've canceled the August recess, and we're going to try to continue to be productive.
Very good. Senator John Cornyn, as always, I appreciate your time, and we'll visit with you down the road.
Very good, Chad. Thanks.
Thank you. That's U.S. Senator John Cornyn here on the Chad Hasty Show. News Talk, KFYO.